Hi everyone and welcome to One Autistic Person. Today I'm going to be doing a video about haircuts. Anybody that's been watching my channel for a while may notice the fact that my head is larger and there seems to be less hair on my head, and that's because I've had my haircut. Now this is something I really struggle with. I struggle quite a lot with it for various different reasons, and I believe that this comes from both being autistic but also from ADHD as well. And I was thinking about it and I was like, what is it that I really don't like about haircuts? So what I've done is put together 10 things I hate about going to the hairdressers, going to get my haircut, and one thing that I love about getting my haircut. And there is only one thing that I could actually find that I actually like about it. So here is my 10 reasons, 10 things that I hate about haircuts. First of all, the biggest problem that I find is making the appointment. It takes me weeks to get to a point of even being able to make an appointment, especially if I need to make a phone call, and I don't particularly like going out unless I absolutely have to. So there's a lot of social interaction that goes on with booking it, whether that's over the phone or face to face. I have to negotiate when the appointment's going to be. All of that can be really complicated, and especially if there's something else that then I try to make sure there's nothing for the whole week coming up when I book it, to make sure that it's then not going to be something that I need to try and work around something, because for some reason every time I go to book an appointment to do something, it seems to, even if I've only got one other thing booked in, it always seems to be that the first thing that's offered to me is that very specific time, and I get very upset about the fact that I need to book this appointment and that's at the same time, and then I feel like I'm letting the person at the end of the phone down. So there's all of that from an autistic perspective, but from an ADHD perspective, keeping that appointment and remembering it and remembering it's there, even though I will set myself reminder after reminder after reminder, but I will also keep telling myself, remember that you've got that haircut, remember you've got that haircut, continually all the time until I get it, until I actually go and get the haircut, as well as worrying because of autism that I'm going to have to go through all of these other things when I actually get to the hairdressers. If you see me putting my arm over here, my cat's over here, so I'll just keep stroking him. Number two, going there in the first place. So as I've said, I don't particularly like going out particularly, but certainly not if I need to go into social interactions, and certainly ones where it's a lot of talking and a lot of other things that are going to come up on the rest of this list as well, to be honest with you. But generally just going there in the first place and having to get through the hurdles of going out would be a major issue for me. And I usually have to go definitely to a hairdresser's with somebody else so they can distract me enough to be able to actually go and do it and to get through it, because I know it's going to be so difficult and so horrible for me. And my hairdresser, just to point out, is absolutely lovely. She's really lovely, but she talks, and I've asked her not to. Well, not really asked her not to. I've explained the situation, but I think she just naturally talks, and she always goes down the route starting to ask questions about things, and it's just frustrating. She's being polite, I know, but it then becomes problematic for me. The next thing, so number three, is the lighting in hairdressers. Because of the fact they're doing something that is quite dexterous and fiddly, they obviously have to have bright lighting. And that it always is very overwhelming for me. I also have to take my glasses off as well when I go into hairdressers, which I quite often just don't wear them to go in there, because then I think that I've lost them, or something's going to get damaged, and I get really hyper focused on it. And I spend a lot of the time with my eyes closed. One, that's because of something else that will be on here later, which is the mirror. I really hate the fact that I'm having to sit in front of a mirror. I'm looking at if I open my eyes, I'm looking at the way that I'm reacting to stuff, and when I have to open my eyes, I'm reacting to stuff, and then I kind of get more centrally overloaded by the fact that I've closed my eyes, I've got into a good headspace of being in a dark place, pretending I'm not there, I suppose, as well as overthinking all of the other things, with the fact that she's touching me. The touching is just horrible. Then there's the smells. There's always strong smells, whether that is if somebody's just had a beard trim. So if somebody's just had their beard done, they'll often have oil put on, and I can smell the oil, and that can be really overpowering. But then if somebody's had something like peroxide used or something like that, the smell is so intense. And again, because I'm trying to zone out, smells are a really difficult thing to zone out from. Lighting, you can close your eyes. I can kind of tell myself I'm not there, and hearing I can kind of go into my own internal thought process. But smells, it just overpowers and overwhelms me hugely. Number 5, I've already touched on this, which is small talk. I know it's there to be polite, but asking me what I'm doing for the rest of the afternoon, you're only ever going to get nothing unless it's something I'm really excited about, and then I'll talk about it. But it's unlikely. It just makes me feel very, very uncomfortable, and I feel like I have to answer with something, and then I overthink about the fact that I didn't answer. And then when I do answer, have I overshared? Have I told them too much information? If they go quiet, I then feel awkward. It's awkward enough when it's quiet, but I would rather it be quiet. And it is small talk. It's the worst possible situation. Somebody touching you in front of a mirror in a highly lit place that smells weird, that while somebody's doing something and chopping something off your body where they could hurt you if they did anything wrong. And I kind of wanted to just focus on that. So yeah, the small talk, and it's always where are you going on holiday, and the things that I just like. If I'm not going on holiday, does that make me weird because I'm not going on holiday? Yeah, anyway. Number 6, already touched on this already. Someone touching me. I really don't like people touching me in general. I really don't like people close to me touching me unless it's very much invited. And it's soft touch as well when someone's cutting your hair to an extent, and I think that's a massive problem for me because I have issues around people touching me softly. If somebody hugs me, I like to have a big bear hug because I don't like somebody just lightly touching me. It makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. So yeah, and the fact that it's all over my head, and it's close to my face, and I can feel the hair falling on me, and the pushing my head around when I'm not expecting it to. There's all sorts of issues around that. So definitely sensory issues around the touching, but also the not knowing what she's going to do next. Right at the beginning, the question of what do you want? A haircut, I don't know, and I always forget what the number is that I have on my sides, and then I constantly think that's shorter than I usually have it. I'm sure it is, especially because I end up taking about 6 months to actually have my haircut, so it ends up being a massive bush. By the time I actually go to get it cut, it's like there's not even a guide to go by for them. If I say I'm not sure, I can't remember, and then I feel like I've got no hair like I do at the moment. It feels like this side of my hair is just, there's nothing there, and I'm like, I just want a haircut. Yes, I really can't. I can't explain what it is that I want, and yeah, I want to get in and out as quickly as possible. What's the quickest option, basically? Number 8 is clippers. I hate clippers. I absolutely hate them. I think I once had my ear caught in one as well, which wasn't pleasant. But I think that adds to the situation. But in general, I've always hated the sound of them, the noise they make. Right from the point of them being turned on, I worry, like I say, about the fact that it's going to be shorter than I'm expecting it to be, and then but I won't say anything about it. But the feeling on my head, oh my goodness, it makes me feel absolutely vile. It makes my whole body shake afterwards. It makes me feel very, very overwhelmed. And I really don't like the feeling of it, but there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. But it's kind of like I know I keep pulling away from it when they're doing it, and then I'm worried that I'm going to make it even worse because I'm then going to end up having a really bad haircut because I'm going to move my head, and the overthinking is huge. But when it comes to the clippers, and the noise is right in my ear as well, so it gets louder as it comes towards me, and I just want to zone out, and then she'll ask me a question while that's happening, and it's like, oh, for goodness sake, there's too much going on here. So I'm so overwhelmed by the time I get it done. The other person that I go with, they have to pay for me because I can't go through the process of through the payment because I just want to get out of there as quickly as possible. It's my housemate that usually comes with me, and what he'll do is usually get his haircut at the same time, and then we'll pay for both together, so that it makes it so that I don't have to do the paying and I can get out as quickly as possible. Number 9 is mirror interaction. Now, this one's really strange. It's one that I've only really realised over the last few times of going there, but I really, really struggle with communicating when she's asking me questions from behind me. So sort of asking, how long do you want something? How long do you want the hair? Because you always say, because if I say I want some length kept on it, she'll then say how long, and it's like, some length, I don't know what length that looks like. I don't know what it'll look like once it's cut. You're asking me too many questions. But having to look in the mirror and look back, I can see my own social interaction and her social interaction at the same time, and it's so overwhelming sensorily as well as socially, because I feel like I'm talking to myself, so I'm having to look at my own eye movements at the same time as looking at hers behind me, and then it's it's so difficult, and I can see so much behind me and so much in front of me, and then on top of everything else, that social interaction feels like one of the most intense social interactions that I experience. And it was really interesting for me to think about it, because you're not directly looking at somebody, which I would have thought would be easier, but actually I hadn't considered the fact that I'm looking at myself as well, because you're looking at the mirror to look behind, which is naturally going to mean that you'll see yourself as you're looking back, and that is so difficult. And I just was really overwhelmed today when that happened, and realised that really is a big difficulty for me as well. And I can't really look away either if she was to talk to me in general, because if I move my head and she's cutting my hair, then something bad could happen. And then number 10 finally is at the end, is this what you wanted? Yeah, it was a haircut, and I'm never going to, I don't even look at it. I'm just like, I just want to get out of the chair. So it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. I'd never say anything about it anyway. Somebody could give me an absolutely horrendous haircut. I'd go away, be absolutely devastated by it, but I would never say anything about it. I want to get out of there too quickly. So I know that again is a question that she should be asking everybody, because if they're not happy and they say they're not happy, she can do something about it. But I'm just interested in getting it done as quickly as possible, and it being so that my hair is more manageable. It kind of will in some way look fine anyway. So yeah, they're my 10 things that I overarchingly hate about it. The more I've thought about it, I could have probably had a list of 30 things that I hated about it. But the one thing that I love about it is having shorter hair, because I always end up having longer hair. Like I say, I have my hair cut probably most of the time anywhere between 4 to 9, even 12 months between, because of this situation, and I do prefer having shorter hair, so because it's much more manageable for me, and it actually causes me sensory issues having too long hair anyway, and I end up pulling it a lot more and using it as a stimming situation, which I then end up pulling my hair out, so it's not great. So yeah, having shorter hair is the only thing that I like about going to the hairdressers. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you feel about going to the hairdressers, what you like and don't like about it, and anything else that you feel is these kind of interactions and how that's difficult. I'd be really interested to hear about the mirror one, and whether that really affects other people the same way that it does me, because it makes me feel so uncomfortable. And realising that it's because I can see my own face, it does make sense that that's the case, because it's seeing myself and seeing the other person's reaction and trying to work those two things out at the same time. As in, is my face doing what it should be, and what is her face doing? It's just too complicated. So if you could comment and let me know what you think on that. Obviously, if you could subscribe, that would be perfect, because it allows my videos to get out there more. The same as liking and sharing. Anything that you can do to help my channel get out to more people would be very much appreciated. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.